You're listening to Ideal Practice episode number 140. Today, guys, I am bringing to you a conversation that I had with Gary Katz. Gary is a psychotherapist in New York City who founded the Center for Intimacy Recovery, and we had the best conversation about the importance of connection. What it is, why it matters, and how we can do a better job of it with our clients, our colleagues, and yes, of course, with ourselves. I think this was one of the richest conversations I've had here on the podcast, and I think you're going to love it. So, stay tuned. Hi, I'm Wendy Pitts-Reeves, and with over 2 decades of experience in the private practice world, I've built my 6-figure business while learning a lot of lessons the hard way. This is the first podcast that shows you how to apply the principles of energy, alignment, and strategy to build a practice that is profit-centered, but people-forward. This is the Ideal Practice Podcast. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Ideal Practice Podcast. This is Wendy Pitts-Reeves, your host, and I am so excited about hanging out with you guys today. I told you that I wanted to do more interviews this year, and we are doing that. And this first one is a great way to kick that off. You're going to love Gary Katz. Gary is a psychotherapist. I think he's a social worker. He's the founder of a clinic or a private practice called the Center for Intimacy Recovery that began in New York City. He focuses primarily on intimacy and relationships in all kinds of ways, and he has grown that into a large group practice with 20, give or take, therapists. They have a dozen or so weekly groups that are happening, and all of that is private pay. And now they are expanding across the country. I think he's got locations now in 7 or 8 states across the country. And that in itself is impressive enough. But the cool thing is that Gary feels really strongly about the importance of connection with other human beings. Of course he does. That's the foundation of his practice, right? And he says that if we are not able to cultivate a sense of intimacy with ourselves, there's no way we can fully experience that with somebody else, right? Our hearts are fragile. We tend to protect them. We develop strategies to stay safe, to avoid being hurt. And so that desire to avoid vulnerability, of course, that impacts relationships, right? And in the work that they do at his center, it's not just all about couples. It's really, they address that issue in all different kinds of ways. But what caught my eye and what I was interested in, and the reason I wanted him to meet you, is because he says that same dynamic, that same concept is equally important to you as you develop and grow your practice. It matters at all levels, your relationship with your clients, with your staff, with your colleagues, and ultimately, always it comes back to the relationship you have with yourself. This was really good. It was such a great conversation. I think you're going to genuinely love it. I found it inspiring, and I hope you do too. And there's lots of fun stuff in here that was like kind of amazing to me what this fella does. I cannot wait for you to get to know him because we're going to have him back. Yeah, it was really that good. So without further ado, how about it? Let's get in to the interview. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Ideal Practice Podcast. I am so glad you are here with me today. You have already heard a little bit about our guest who I think you're going to love because the minute I met him, I just we have to have this guy on. And in fact, we're going to have him on twice. I'm bringing him back later in the year because there's so many juicy things to talk about. Let me introduce you to Gary Katz. Gary, say hi.
Hi, Wendy. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It took us a while to get here, but we're here.
We're here.
We're here.
Everything happens at the right time.
Indeed it does. Indeed it does. Really, it does. So tell me, I always love to start out by having people tell everyone where you are, because I get such a kick out of that. and a little bit about who you help and how you help them.
Yeah. Well, as you mentioned before, I'm Gary Katz, and I'm physically located in New York at the moment, which is where my practice, the Center for Intimacy Recovery, is based out of. But we also are, in the New York area, like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and have branches in Florida, Texas, and California too. And then we
Wow.
also serve Vermont and Virginia too right now.
Wow.
Yeah,
So it's a large group practice
correct.
with multiple sites. Are those brick and mortar sites in those
I
states?
have in California, Florida, they're brick and mortar. Texas was, but the person moved, so now we have virtual there.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to have a brick and mortar place in Texas as well.
Goodness gracious. I didn't realize you were spread out that far. You've got the whole country. Huh.
The states
Yeah.
with the big populations, and
Yes.
because yeah, because I mean, it's a licensing is a state by state issue in our profession unless you have a psychologist, and they have that
Right.
pact between states. So when
Right.
trying to figure out where the best place to focus is, it's often based on the size of the states.
Huh.
That's how I approach it.
Very strategic.
I was born
Yeah.
in the smallest state, so but when I look for business, it's in the larger states, just because there's a larger market there.
Yeah. Perfectly. Is that Rhode Island?
I was born in Rhode Island, yeah,
Where
Newport,
are
Rhode
you?
Island.
Awesome. It is tiny. That's true. Um, so the Center for Intimacy Recovery,
Mhm.
right? Right. What is the focus of your practice? Who do y'all serve?
Yeah, that's great. It's in the name. Intimacy is the focus. We work with adults, and is individual therapy, couples, a lot of couples, and also group therapy, um, and then we do intensives as well. We work with adults, helping people to have more intimacy in their lives. And what I would mean by that is, first of all, starting with themselves, like the ability to have intimacy with themselves, to be
Mm,
able to know all the different parts of themselves. And there's the parts that we're very familiar with. And then there's the parts that maybe we are familiar with or we want to show people that like are shiny and they're really successful or they look good or they make us feel good and feel
yeah.
good. And then we all have parts that we don't like to look at and we don't want other people to see because we might feel embarrassed or ashamed or things that they could be feelings like being petty. I can't believe she got that promotion. I should have known,
Mm,
or it could
mm-hmm.
be anger. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
maybe we thought we were raised that it's not okay to be angry and we don't want to even know ourselves that we're angry and feel it. So it's not just that we don't show it outwardly, it's we don't even want to feel it with ourselves because it feels bad to be
Right.
angry.
Right.
Um, Pain sometimes when it feels so intolerable, we
Yeah.
hide ourselves from it, and that's even like the function of the function of the mechanism denial is a way to not is a form of not being intimate with oneself, right? So we think of denial often
Mm,
like, you're an alcoholic. No, I'm not. Yes, see, denial for the first sign, like that joke when I
mm-hmm.
was growing up,
Mm-hmm.
they used to make that joke.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of like, no, I'm not, isn't that the person who's saying I don't have this problem that they know they do, but they're lying to you. They don't even know they're lying to themselves. So like the
Right.
brain has compartmentalized it,
Right.
and so that's a form of like lack of intimacy with self. So really, what I mean by when I talk about intimacy with ourselves is the ability to be as integrated as possible.
Oh, I like that. So your practice isn't just about working with couples, right? You do
No,
individual work
we
and
do a
couples
lot of
all.
and we
Okay.
have a lot of groups because I think that we also learn about ourselves from hearing other people. So just like I might hear a song and I'm like, oh wow, those lyrics describe how I'm feeling. When
Mm-hmm.
I listen to other people, if I really listen to their substance and to the
Mm-hmm.
feelings that they're having, I can hear my own voice and my own experiences there too. So we have probably 13 groups a week that meet because I really, and also so intimacy starts with myself and then goes with other people. So that's group therapy is a great place to build those intimacy skills with others also.
Am I remembering this right? Did you tell me that you have that many groups going on every week and they are self pay? Am I remembering that right?
Correct. Correct.
Y'all, I want y'all to be impressed by that. Like, notice this because who among you can say you're running 10 or 12 groups a week and they're all self pay? Because you're right.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge believer in group work and experiential work.
So powerful.
It is so powerful. I have a group of my own a group that I started last summer that is the joy of my being.
Mm.
it is,
Uh,
it is so makes me so happy. What's going on in that group? That I always have to resist the temptation because I'm so interested in the business side of things. Like, how'd you do that? How do you make that work?
let me say, can I say something about that?
Yeah, sure, sure.
I don't know. To be
You
honest, I
don't
mean,
know.
that's the first answer. Like, I don't know, because I talk with a lot of friends who are therapists, colleagues. I try to help out a lot of new therapists. If there are any, I'll give my information at the end, and it'll be in your copy and stuff for people to have. But
Yep.
like any therapist who wants suggestions about how to develop their practice, please feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah.
I love that. I was a teacher for 20 years before this profession, so part of why I have a large staff is because it gives me an opportunity to teach. And that's also part of why
Mm-hmm.
I'm here. But
Yeah.
so I know people have a hard time. I have colleagues who have practices and they're working so hard to get 5 people to be free the same night. And they just,
Yes.
right? Like I just push it all the time. I feel like, both within my own clients that I see for individual or couples therapy, when it
Mm-hmm.
feels like they need more support, I recommend
Mm-hmm.
it. And a lot of times if they're going through a tough time, like they do need more support because
Yeah.
45, 50 minutes a week with your
It's
therapist
not
is
enough.
not enough to get through the week.
Yeah.
And since we're also working on intimacy with others, our groups run, I don't know how you run your groups. I mean, I've been in groups as a client multiple times in my life before I was a
Mm-hmm.
therapist and as a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
I finished the last group I was in a year and a half ago.
Hmm.
Um, Historically, when you're in group therapy, you can't have contact with your group members outside a group. That was the traditional way to do it. There are
Yep.
many people who still do that because the belief is that it dilutes the energy of the group.
Yep.
And then people will subgroup and talk about like, can you believe that
Yep.
guy wore that to group? And it takes away the
And they
ability
spin
to,
off into relationships, and then you have all kinds of drama that happens.
correct.
Yes.
At our practice, since we're trying to promote and help people to develop relational skills and increase intimacy in their life, support for whatever they're going through, we do the opposite. We encourage them to use the group as community. And I mean, I had the first women's group I ever ran. A bunch of them, like they all went and did a spa day one day. 2 of them went on a road trip from New York to Florida. Like they really built connection with each other. And on the men's groups that we have, or I ran a co-ed group for the first 2 years of during COVID, like I guess 2020, 2021, and when
Oh,
things
well. In
got
person or online? Was that one
online.
online? Yeah.
Yeah, they were all clients I had, and I just was like, something feels like that they're all doing really well in life, but they need a
Yes.
little more support. So
Yeah.
it was first time I ever did a group at lunchtime because I used to always do them at night. And then I got a bunch of pictures from them one day. They spent the weekend together. They went away for the weekend, and then it was like it was so beautiful. So,
I so love this. So
yeah.
I have to tell you the group because you will appreciate this. The group that I started last summer is for women leaders at midlife because that's who my focus is now on the counseling side.
Yeah.
So there are women in their 40s and 50s who are all like they are a force of nature. Sometimes they know that, most of the time they don't. And exactly like that because I have been in groups that it changes your whole life when you do have that sense of community. And so I wanted that for them, that exact same thing, because one of the first things they did was ask me if they could meet for lunch. And my first instinct was to go to discourage that
Right.
because of that old
Right.
training.
Right.
And then I thought about, no, that's not what I want. And so we have a Voxer group and they are all talking to each other all the time about where are we meeting? Is it 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock? What did we say? Which restaurant are we
Yeah.
going to? And I'm trying to I feel like a mom watching the kids all plan something and I'm trying to stay out of the way so I don't mess it up.
It's so beautiful.
It is
It's
so
so beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And like one of them had a big job interview today for a really important promotion. And they are all like, you got this, girl. We're watching you. We're here for you, all that kind of stuff. It is really powerful. You're right. I love that, which
Mm.
is perfect because I want to talk to you about the role of connection in general, like
Yeah.
connection in society, connection with our clients, connection with our peers and colleagues, and with ourselves.
Hmm.
Um, can you talk to me? Like, let's start with that because the other thing I always say about groups is the hardest part about a group is getting people to go, but once you get them there, Like it's always good once you get
Can
in
I give
there.
I forgot one thing I think that helps,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
especially to clinicians. Here's what I did that really got our groups going. I offered a short-term group, 6 weeks, lower than the normal fee. So we would let's say on average, we charge regularly right now, at least in the New York area, $100 per week for group, per
Mm-hmm.
person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I did it 6 weeks for $399. So it came out to $66. So it's cheaper.
Yep.
They weren't like people get nervous to sign up for a group. I'm going to be there for life. What are you talking about?
Right. It was
So it's
time
like six
limited.
weeks. That's all.
You
And
can
it was
handle
like
that.
we did it as an introduction to whatever like introduction to intimacy group. So they
Yeah.
knew that it was a little more psycho ed than a traditional just process group, but
Mm-hmm.
they knew they had a finite amount of time. By the
Mm-hmm.
third week, we brought up the topic that if people are interested, we'd be open to having it continue as a regular group. And most of the time, it's spun off into a regular group. So if we have, let's say,
Mm.
7 in the 6 week group, 4 to 5 would want to continue.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
how that's one of the ways that I did it, is like it's like a door prize, like cheaper and shorter time. I got them in the
Yeah. A
door.
loss leader.
Yeah, and I gave them
Yeah.
we gave them a really good product. I usually, for a long time, I led the introductory group, but I had one of my newer staff co-lead it with me. So then at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the 6 weeks, I would hand the group off to that staff member. Now they were running a group.
Oh,
And I would do
that's
the next
brilliant.
6 week group. Yeah. So it gave me a chance also to model and train the new staff person
I like
to
that.
show them, how
Yeah.
I would do a group also.
So you helped form the foundation and the connection in the group,
Yeah.
and then could hand it off. So you could, that also freed you up to go start another one. That's
Correct.
brilliant.
Exactly.
So you're teaching your staff, you're helping the group, and you're also freeing yourself up to do more. So I
Yeah.
like that. I like that.
And this is
Yeah.
the first time in my career that I'm not running a group. It's like a little sad. It's not a little sad, not like it is sad.
Yeah.
I just gave up a group that I had been leading for 13 years, I think, 13 years.
Mm.
I started as an intern, and
Hmm.
I just handed it off to one of my staff after, and I miss it. I'll cover for her when she goes on leave, but
It's so funny. I hadn't planned to be talking about group work, but that's not where I thought I was going to go. But it is such a great sort of metaphor for connection, and talking about the strategy behind it is also helpful. I actually am charging more for my group, and we only meet once a month, which has been really, really interesting. I completely broke the rules. Because and in fact, I started this group. Somebody else invited me to do it for a platform that I'm on. I'm going to leave that platform and do it myself. Got lots of pressure to do weekly or biweekly. These are busy people. They don't have time for that.
Yeah.
So once a month has been fine for 90 minutes, and I'm charging a premium rate for it. And the way I got into it was I kept having these clients where I'm like, you two, y'all need to know each other. Because when you're having the same conversation with people all day long, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, you should talk to each other because I'm telling you all the same things. And this speaks to the point about connection and relationship, because the reason my folks joined is trust. They trusted me because I said, I know you don't want to do this, but I'm telling you this will be good for you and you will be glad you're there. And it was nothing but blind trust. Okay, Wendy, but I don't think I'm going to like it.
Right.
Just humor me.
And
And
how great it is for these women who are, if they're like really doing well in their careers, then they're probably near the top of whatever they're doing.
yeah,
It's isolating. It's lonely.
and have very little experience with trusted relationships. You have to watch your back all the time. There's always somebody trying to undermine you.
Yeah.
So to be in a place where like, what, you're actually glad for my success rather than threatened by my success.
And I can feel safe asking a question because I don't know how to do something. And
yes.
I'm not. Yeah.
Yes.
That's so beautiful.
I cannot tell you how happy it makes me. And today they were arguing with each other over on Voxer about who was going to write the longest testimonial for me.
That's really sweet. That's very sweet. And a nice compliment.
Yeah, it cracked me up a little bit. That's lovely. So the strategy around how to do groups can vary widely. You can have open groups, closed groups, large groups, small groups, whatever, time limited, ongoing. But you're using groups to connect you to your staff and you to your clients, which is beautiful. I wanted to ask you, what were some ideas for how to strengthen your connection with clients? What about outside of groups? Is there anything in particular that you have learned or done that helps you have a stronger relationship, a sense of connection with your personal clients or your individual or couples, whatever?
Um, that's a good question.
Are there things that you do naturally that you don't even think about that other people comment on?
I don't know if they comment, but I try to make my clients know that I'm looking forward to seeing them.
Mm.
So even, and it's sincere. I mean, I don't think I would write it for the clients that I'm not looking forward to see. So I know it's sincere. But
Yeah.
when we're dealing with the scheduling issue via text or email, just letting them know I'm really looking forward to seeing you, I think is really,
Yeah.
feels good.
Yeah.
Because to me, I think the thing that helps me the most with my connection with clients is being present with them in the session. I've
Yeah.
gone through stages where I'm not so present in the session, and I see the difference in how like the work that they get done. So like the being fully present
Mm-hmm.
with them,
Mm-hmm.
um, tracking their facial expressions, mirroring
Mm-hmm.
it back to them, um, making them feel seen,
Yeah.
making them feel delighted in like what they're doing, that I'm delighted by, I had a client last night, I've seen her for several years, and she's almost done with her graduate school. She
Mm.
didn't think she could even get into graduate school. And so
Uh,
like just taking time in the session, it made her so uncomfortable, to like really like, what we would all want from our parent,
yes.
to be just delighted in how
Yes.
amazing she's done. And she's done it. I mean, like, I'm so impressed and proud of her, things like
Uh,
that. Or a client who,
mm.
you know, really struggled to talk to friends. And then he shared that he came back into session the following week and shared how he brought up a really uncomfortable topic, like something that was vulnerable for him. And like he wants to say it and then move on to the next topic. And like,
Right. Drop
let's
and go.
luxuriate in this thing here for a second. And but I
Yes.
think like to me, that's the biggest thing about like being as present as possible and really slowing the session down, and sometimes against their will, so to speak, where they want to,
Mm-hmm.
talk, tell me the story, really slowing them down to the feeling, and then using
Mm.
our relationship as, to me, that using our relationship like, what was that like for you that I just told you that I'm so proud
Yes.
of you? Like really meta processing through and slowly, not just quick answer, okay, let's move on, but like, yeah, like
Yes.
I felt that in my body, just this joy when you told me that you're going to
Yes.
graduate in 2 months, and
Yes.
things like that. Like starts to like book, like, what do you notice in your body as I'm like telling, and they're like, oh, can we move on? I'm like, yeah, we will, but soon, not yet. What is happening in your body? And so if they go to that
Mm.
vulnerable place of like, this is too much, let's just
Mm.
take a step back, but let's feel it and notice it. And what's that
Mm-hmm.
like? And like, what would it feel like to go drop in a little deeper, to feel like, wow, I feel so glad that he likes it, that I'm graduating and I did really well. Like,
Yeah.
because like you said, the women in your group, maybe they don't have a place where they can have people happy for them.
Be proud for them.
Be proud
Yes.
for them. So many
Yes.
clients haven't had someone that it felt safe to bring an accomplishment to. Either
Yes.
the person or the parents or the whoever it was distracted,
Yes.
preoccupied with their own stuff, or like, don't,
Yes.
like, what are you bragging about? Or like,
Right. Who do you think you are? Yep.
yeah. So
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
we're all still the kid who runs home and wants the spelling test on the fridge. Every single one of us.
Yes.
We're still that person. And I think to me, that's the thing about intimacy, is that we're all wanting to
Mm.
be seen.
And don't know what to do with it when we are. And
Yeah.
yeah, this is so good because yeah, how can you connect with your clients? Make sure that they are seen and they know it. And I love what you're saying about slowing it down sometime, because just last week I have a new person I'm seeing who I actually think is a potential for my group. I'm kind of waiting to see, but I think so. She doesn't know it, but I think she is. And this is relevant. She had told me about this woman is in her 60s and had been carrying around some things that she didn't feel good about from her 20s,
Mm.
all these years. She told me some stories. She heard, as the stuff that we do. We're all like the shame, the guilt, the regret. I can't believe I did that dumb thing, or I put myself in that dumb situation, or whatever. And all this sort of icky self-talk that was coming out of it. And all I could hear was the courage that I saw in every single one of those situations, that this was real. I wasn't making that, like, I really was like, you got out of that and you changed that and you stood up to that and there were so many ways that I saw nothing but courage. And so I started to say that to her. And you talk about squirmy, right? Like super squirmy.
Yeah.
And you will love it. I said, stop. Like I literally put my hand up and I said, stop. I know this is hard for you to hear. I want you to just be quiet and hear it for a moment.
Yeah.
It's okay. And I said my spiel. And I said, I want you to just take that in for a minute. And man, it was hard for her.
Yeah.
But so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
good.
so many
Yeah.
of us are conditioned to deflect
Yeah.
back, make a joke,
Right.
distract, right? Not to really be able to take it, be in that vulnerable space of taking in praise or
Yeah.
acknowledgement. It's so,
Move past the moment. Move past the
yeah.
moment. And you don't let them do that. Yeah. There was something else about that I was going to say. Um, when you talked about not being present, that you aren't always, I have found that that happens, I mean, we're only human. If there's a lot going on in our own life, we may not be, or if we're really tired that day, we may not be. I find that that happens more when I'm working with a client who is not an ideal client for me. They're not a good fit. Do
Uh,
you
I
find that?
find it if yes and no, like, well, if they're not a good fit, yeah, I do have a reaction, but I think for me, it's if they have low energy.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
if they're very in their head and they're not
Yes.
emotionally, they're not in their heart, and they're not, and they may not know how to do that. I don't feel them, and they can be talking, talking, talking,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I notice myself, I'm like, I mean, I don't,
Yeah.
hopefully I don't do that in real, like, and just
Yeah.
internally, but I have to bring myself back. I have a wonderful client, and I've had to move. I had to, who I had years ago, I had to move him off Fridays because
Yep.
it's the end of the week, and it was very low energy, and I couldn't work with him on a Friday because
Yep.
I needed more energy to raise his energy, right? Like sometimes,
Yes. That's so good.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
I had somebody I couldn't see at 2 o'clock. I had a 2 o'clock client. I'm like, I cannot see this person at 2 o'clock because
yeah,
that's my dip energetically through the day. And it was the same thing. I would find myself like yawning and I would say, I promise I am not bored. It's what happens to me at 2 o'clock.
yeah.
I couldn't pretend like it wasn't happening. I moved that person to a different time. But have you also think that this is all tied in? This is more clinical than I normally talk about, but it's still good. Um, or it's also good. Have you ever had it happen where you're with somebody and it has that kind of feeling? You're just kind of like, it is low energy, and all of a sudden something happens, like you say something or something clicks, and like all of a sudden the room is on fire. Like you
Yeah.
just tapped into whatever the thing is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, it usually feels like I'm being pulled from my like this part of my body
Mm,
forward. Like if I'm
mm,
present enough, if
mm.
and it can be hard if I don't feel they're present, then I have to work. But if I'm
Yeah.
present enough, what happens is I was trained to like listen to what's happening in my body to be
Yeah.
able to know what's going on in the session. And all of a sudden I feel this pull forward. I'm like, that's where to go. And it took
Love
years
it.
to trust that because I'm like, am I making this up, or do I have
Yeah.
heartburn, or is there something like, is it just an interesting topic to me and not what? And I've learned just to kind of follow it, and if it's
Yeah.
wrong, it's wrong, but most of the time it's right. And I don't mean
I
that
love it.
egotistically, but my
Yeah.
like our bodies are picking up on things,
Yes.
and so yeah, it definitely
Mm.
happens. And or or if it's not coming from my body, sometimes I'll hear something, I'll just be like, wait a second,
What was that?
go there,
Yeah.
and it opens up the session.
Great. I love
Yeah.
that. I love the use of your tuning into your own body for cues about what's going on with your clients and listening to that to know when to lean in and to connect at a deeper level. That's good.
That was the best advice I got from one of my second year supervisor when I was in school, Madeline Breckenridge, who was just wonderful. She's like, because
Mm,
I was trying to be like many interns
hmm.
or early clinicians, I was trying to figure out in my head the right thing to say,
Yep.
the right modality to approach it. Or I was like, oh my God, please just don't let me look like a fool.
Right.
So she's like, you're not present when you're in all those spaces, Gary.
Right.
Just note it, just listen to your body.
That is really true. I actually have also got similar advice like that. It's funny how much we have in common around this. Um, I will tell clients, I have a little bit of a bellyache. Do you?
Mm.
Or I have a little bit of a headache. Do you? Or I'm wondering if I'm picking up on something with you. And because I've learned to pay attention to that is often a reflection of something that's going on with them. It's very,
Correct.
very useful.
Or
Y'all,
anger.
that's good
Also
advice for
anger. If I
connection.
feel like
Yeah.
this, because I can feel anger wafting off of them,
Mm,
then I'm going to be like, then that tells me to like figure out what's going on. Sometimes I'll just
yeah.
say it out loud, like I'm feeling anger coming off of you and just,
Yeah.
but like that's another way my body will notice.
Yeah. That's really good. I liked your thing about letting them know that you're happy to see them too. Um, just a yay, you're coming tomorrow.
And I am. I mean, except for the
Yes.
ones I'm not, I am. And most, when you're, you get to a point in practice where you get to pick most of your clients too. So I really love my clients. I feel very lucky to work with them. I feel sometimes it's so abundantly clear, and other times it becomes clear, but like it's not a coincidence that we're matched, but it just
Yes.
worked out that way. Like, they didn't
Yes.
stumble into my office by accident, and and some are difficult, which is fine, but it doesn't change how I feel about them.
Right. What about well, one more thing about that before I leave that topic. I believe that that part of what you need to do as a practice owner is to get clear about who you really do want to work with and make sure that you are marketing and you are shifting your focus in a way that brings those people in, because that is who you're going to light up with. I don't have clients I don't enjoy. Hardly. I won't say never, but really, really rare.
Yeah.
Almost everybody I have, I cannot wait to see them because I thoroughly enjoy the contact. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's to me, that's what an ideal practice is, that you're working. That doesn't mean they're easy. They can also be actually quite difficult sometimes for whatever reason, but you want to be with them and you really are genuinely look forward to seeing them. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. What about colleagues? So, a lot of folks who are in solo practice, here's one thing, they don't have anybody. They're by themselves behind a closed door all day long.
Yeah.
But even in a group practice, that's sometimes the case. And I have seen places, I've been around practices where like nobody talks to each other all day. It's just very sort of sterile, or you pass in the hall and say hi, but that's it. I hate that. The
What a
group I
work
ran
culture.
wasn't like that. But how do you handle that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would hate that.
Yeah, I do actually hate that.
And I feel like it's gotten it was always like that. Like maybe when you had an office, like before the pandemic, I shared an office space with 4 colleagues. We all had our own practices, and if we had people who worked for us, they were in the space too. But like you see each other in the kitchen, in line for the bathroom, you're all going for the same 5-minute break.
Right.
You had a little interaction, but it was still lonely. And I think that, let's say I work Monday through Friday. Mondays and Tuesdays I work in person, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday virtual.
Good.
So,
I love that. Yeah.
and I did that not because of clinical reasons work in person. I did it because I felt isolated and lonely.
Yeah.
So I think that the sense of loneliness in our profession has gotten even more profound
Mm.
because of all the virtual work.
Yeah, I agree.
And and
Agree.
again, like using my body, I just know I feel it. So I felt it.
Mm.
And 2 years ago, I went back to an office, and it felt good to be around people in person. Now it's still lonely because we're playing a role of therapist. It's not, and it is connection and connected, but it's not like we're there for them.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah.
it fills my heart to do the work, but it's not filling me up on a personal level. So
Yeah.
I've still struggled. And that's why I've actually started to create part of our practice goal, since our practice is about intimacy. I want the staff to feel intimacy.
Mm.
So for example, probably around 2019, 2020, we had about 6 people on staff, and the pandemic happened, and we have weekly group supervision at the practice. Like I really feel it. I want like lifelong learners. That's what I am. I'm always learning. Um,
Is this even with licensed people, like no matter where they
oh
are in
yeah,
their,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I've
Yeah.
been in some form of training almost consistently in my career.
Mm.
Um, but so we have 3 hours of supervision a week. Everyone has 2 hours of group supervision and then 1 hour of individual supervision.
With you in particular?
Not anymore. It used to be me. I do the 2 group supervisions, but I have a wonderful clinical director, Nancy Tricamo, and then we have a clinical supervisor now, also Evangelist Daniels. Between the 2 of them, they do all the individual supervisions, and then we co-lead the group supervisions.
So I want to have a picture of this. So this is your physical location in New York City, right? Your
Yeah.
primary?
It's
No.
virtual. It's virtual.
Oh,
So
it's
we do it on
virtual.
days because we have staff in different states now, and because we have
Oh.
staff in different parts of this area, even if it's the same state. So it's all virtual. So
So
in 2020,
how many staff do you have? Or roughly?
about 20, I think.
Okay. Spread
Yeah.
out through all those different states.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So in
Okay.
2020, as we're starting to grow more, group supervision became so valuable because we were so isolated early in the pandemic. Everyone was scared. No one knew what was happening yet. So to
Yeah.
see the same people every week on Zoom felt really good. And
Yeah.
but I needed to hire more staff. And I was like, if I just keep hiring more staff, I'm going to dilute that connection.
Mm.
And so someone, my sister actually gave me the idea and she's like, well, why don't you just hire a whole second staff? So that's what I did. I
Oh.
hired four people one time and I made them parallel staff. So they were like two pods, like we used to, they used,
Oh.
so I had a regular Thursday supervision, group supervision, and then I created a whole new staff on Wednesdays. They would have group supervision. So they both had more intimate experiences in their group supervision. They got more attention, but they
Yeah.
also got to know the people in their group much better than if they were 20. And so
Yeah.
we still do that. We still split the staff. We come together once a month virtually, like
All
today we did
together.
it for
Yeah.
a full staff training.
Yep. Oh, nice. Nice.
But I want to create a sense of connection. So by having smaller groups, they're able to feel more connected to the people in their group. So that's
Even
one
online, even when
even
it's digital.
even online. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
one way we do it. When we're able to do things in person occasionally, like when people leave, we try to get together and have a meal together. Usually once a quarter, I try to plan an activity for them to do together. But thinking about like, oh, okay, we're all about intimacy.
Yeah.
I want it to be both what shapes, like what colors the lens clinically and market.
Yeah.
So I want to provide intimacy, teach clients to be intimate with themselves or with their family members or in their lives, their friends. And I want to create connection and intimacy at the appropriate level between colleagues.
Yeah.
But we're trying to create, I also, want to create connection and intimacy in our community of therapists. So one
Mm.
thing we did for that was we started like a mental health professionals pickleball league.
Oh, I wanted to talk. I was hoping you would
Yeah.
bring that up. I
Yeah. So
love that so
that was
much.
exactly the idea that you're talking about. Like everyone's lonely,
Yeah.
especially solo practitioners.
Yeah.
And part of the way that I started to feel that besides my own needs for wanting connection, I was starting to have people apply to work at the practice who were in practice already 10 years. I'm like, what's
Mm.
wrong with them if they're applying? Like, why don't they have
Right.
so I asked them that, but not in that way, obviously.
Yeah. You got
I
your own
said,
thing going. Why do you want to come join us?
and they said,
Yeah.
I want, and I let them keep their own practice while they work with us. But they're like, I miss connection of a group practice.
Mm.
I miss meeting once a week to discuss things with people.
Yeah.
These are like accomplished therapists, So,
Yep. Yeah.
we benefited because we got all these wonderfully accomplished, experienced therapists come in.
Yeah.
And we also, it helped me to understand this broader need for connection. So I was looking for a Monday night activity for myself that had a little movement in it. Because I called up an adult sports league and said, what's the easiest learning curve activity that can appeal to all ages and all different abilities or inabilities with athleticism?
You wanted to do something physical that was
Yeah.
active.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
adult sports league.
Yeah. And so I want friends. I don't want to play alone in the sandbox. So they said
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
place said pickleball, and it's been wonderful. We got 40 people the first season, and it's just been a wonderful. It's
40 people. Wow.
Yeah. And people that I never knew, like, you have certain names and people, even in a large community like New York, where there's a million therapists,
Yeah.
know certain people, but there are people that I would have never met otherwise, totally different practices, different populations they work with, never would have crossed paths probably. And they came out and so we play every Monday night and then we have dinner afterwards. And it just feels like really nice, really nice.
That is brilliant and
Yeah.
really unusual.
You could do it in Tennessee.
I've never played pickleball.
You don't or you make something else instead of pickleball,
Well, I used to do monthly lunches.
Yeah.
I call if they're technically a networking lunch, but I didn't call it that. But I would just when I first started my practice in a very conscious way, I reached out to I live in a small town. And so I wanted to meet like school guidance counselor or the nurse that worked for the psychiatrist or another therapist or two, like different people who did different kinds of things, and bring them together for small group lunches. And that actually ended up feeding my practice because people would come to that and then would want to come and work with me. And
Right.
I built a group practice out of that. That's exactly true.
Exactly. So like
Yep.
it's soft marketing. So the
It
pickleball
is soft
creates,
marketing. Yeah.
yeah. And so now we're gonna start a once a month, some other form of get together. I think we might do like salsa dance lessons, might do a book club one time, but things like once a month to create connection and community
And something
and,
fun.
and something fun. That's not another CE event. It's not
Yes.
learning. It's not,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
the big thing that I'm really excited about with this is that we're going to have, and people from wherever they are welcome to come because but we're going to do a 1 week summer camp at the end of the summer for therapists.
Well, I was going to ask you if you ever bring people in, even if they're across the country, bring them into town for
Yeah.
something, for
Yeah. So if
a
they
one
wanted to
week
come,
summer camp.
yeah. Initially I thought it'd be all play and just kind of relax and hang out with other therapists. But I think after going to a retreat myself this past weekend, like I was just telling you before we
Yeah.
started,
Yeah.
and doing some work with other mental health professionals, I think I want to make the mornings kind of some type of inner work, and then afternoon and nights play and do whatever. So people can feel they're learning about themselves and growing, but also growing through play and connection. And again, it's just a place to create fun and connection, and it's soft marketing.
Yeah. Do you remember the Cape Cod
Yes,
symposiums they used to
yes.
have?
Not the
Right.
symposium, the
Symposium?
trainings, not the symposium. The
What?
symposium is different, but
Okay.
The Cape Cod Institute.
Cape Cod, they would
Yeah,
have training in the morning and then you were supposed
yeah,
to like go to the beach or go
exactly.
play in the afternoon.
Yeah,
Only that was like go off on your own. This is like forming community. That's really a great idea. That's
I
really a
used to
great
run
idea.
summer camps before this career when I like
Did
as part
you?
of being a teacher. So I'm like, this just makes sense. It's like it helps me become more integrated between my camp director role and my therapist role. Yeah.
I used to do as a volunteer with a juvenile justice program that took kids out in the wilderness for off trail backpacking trips. And
Wow.
and have done various other things. I had a small sort of a side business going for a while of taking women out on adventure based trips. And I took a group to the beach and would surprise them. It was called Secret Adventures. There were lots of surprises along the way. Um, but the idea of being both intentional about getting your staff to talk to each other and intentional about how you invite your professional community to come together and being really creative in how you do it. Like that's such a delightful combination. Can I ask, are you like with the pickleball thing, do you charge for that in some way? Or is it just we're
Yeah.
going to be at the park on Monday night? Come if you want to. You do.
No,
Yeah.
we do charge, but we're not making money off of it. I kind of want to make money off of it, but
That's what I was wondering.
yeah.
Yeah.
I partnered with this adult sports league that does leagues for other adults. They provide it. The challenge in New York City for everything is always geography, location,
Yeah.
because it's such a prime thing. There's
Yeah.
not enough place. So
Yeah.
in the suburbs, like where I live, an hour north of New York City, there's a tennis club where I could go play pickleball. I could reserve if I wanted to. I could reserve Monday nights from 7 to 9, and it'd be no
Yeah.
problem. Or I could
Yeah.
go to the park outside. Um, in New York City, there's so few places to play.
Mm.
And also because we have so many people, we need 3 different courts because we have six
Wow.
teams. So
Wow.
it's a space is a premium. So if I could, I would just find my own place. I would organize the whole league myself, charge a certain rate, make some money off of it too. Not much, but a little. But I can't. So I the company, they have the spaces reserved. So I go through them. They do these mass emailings. I marketed the whole thing. And so
Mm.
like recently they just raised the prices on us and I went back to them and I was like, look, I handed you an entire league.
Really?
Yeah, you want to
Yeah.
raise it $30? Like, come
Right.
on. Like, and so
Huh.
you haven't had to market at all from our league. I
We're
brought
bringing you
you,
business.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So they agreed, which was I was just today actually, which I was really glad about. But so I
Mm.
don't try to make money off of it because of the setup that we're in. If I had just to reserve something and I didn't, then I probably would have charged a little more to take for my time.
Yeah, because it's not nothing to stay on top of that, to organize it, to track it, to make sure everybody remembers the day it's happening. I mean, there's a lot involved in keeping something like that going. That's why I was curious about that. Because one of
Yeah.
the mistakes that I have made historically is doing things just because it feels good and not thinking about the cost it is of my time and energy, and that I should get reimbursed for that.
I
So
have made that mistake too.
yeah, yeah, it's a social worker thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a social worker thing I'd like to change. That's why I wanted to ask that, because I want people to know you're doing things it's win-win. It's good for them, but it needs to be good for you as well, both
Yeah.
energetically and sometimes financially. Yeah. Um, that's awesome. Like I have in my coaching work, I have often encouraged people to find ways to build up their network, right? And go out and meet with colleagues,
Mm-hmm.
just meet them for coffee, ask them about their practice, whatever. It is amazing to me how hard it is sometimes to get people to do that.
It's very hard. Look, it's
Yeah.
like it's kind of it feels similar. I mean, it's a risk. It's a vulnerable risk to say, like you're kind of saying, do you want to play with me? Same
Yes.
thing. Even though it's
Yeah.
for business, what if they don't want to? And what if they don't
Yeah.
like me? What if I don't say the right thing? And I do it and I'm comfortable doing it, but for most of my life, I would be very uncomfortable doing it. Like I would go to events and I would say, whoever's with me, please don't leave my side till I get comfortable.
I just in this past week, I have been saying I think therapists are the most awkward people on the planet.
I agree. I agree. Oh my gosh, I agree. We sponsored this play 2017 or 18. A client of mine and a colleague that I shared an office with wrote a one-woman show about her experience as a betrayed partner. And she was an actress. And
Wow.
her husband was publicly arrested. It was very humiliating for them. And
Oh, wow.
after several years of dealing with it, part of, I guess, how she dealt with it was she wrote this really impactful play. It's now on HBO, actually. Yeah,
Wow.
it was made into a one-woman movie, and then they just it's called Accidentally Brave. It's a
Oh,
lot,
wow.
but it's really beautiful about a person's ability to
Mm.
be brave accidentally, that they're
Mm.
forced to. So
Mm.
she was running this play, it was doing well, and we decided as a way to expose other therapists to the work that we were doing and she was doing, and this topic of betrayal trauma when someone's been betrayed by their partner. Myself and a colleague, we bought the theater out, and I was kind of earlier in my career. I didn't know a lot of people, so I kind of blind emailed a lot of therapists to invite them for free to this showing and have a panel discussion afterwards. And I
Wow.
had one friend who asked me if he could bring his therapy group.
Wow.
And I was like, I had like a bunch of cancellations last minute. I'm like, sure, we have
Being
like
clients, his
his
clients.
clients who
Okay.
had who were it was a group of men who had betrayed their partners, and he thought it would be impactful for their healing to see this play.
Wow.
So I said, sure. So I stood at the front of the theater and I was like the usher. I was like, here's your playbook. Because I wanted to meet each therapist who came in.
Y'all, wait, I just want to put a pin in this. This is crazy and awesome. Y'all who are listening, like tune in to listen to what he's saying here. He rented a dang theater as a way of supporting a client, supporting an important message, and also meeting colleagues.
Yeah.
Like that is, I mean, I know there's a lot, but wow. Can I just say wow? Wow. Okay. And this was it a small theater, like 100 seats,
Yeah,
something like that?
it was probably 150 people. Yeah.
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 Wow. And talk about like a financial investment and a risk. I
It
hope
was
this
a
works.
risk.
I hope
So
somebody comes.
I did it with the other therapist who,
Yeah.
like, I saw this woman and her husband as a couple at the time, and her individual therapist, we did it together to allay when you partner with people, you don't have to pay as much money.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But you weren't charging for the tickets. It was
we
free to the
didn't,
people
it
who
was
came.
free. Yeah. I figured if I get one referral, I don't remember the math now, but if I get one referral that lasts a year, it
Yeah.
covers my investment, which is how I
There you
think of
go.
most things, right? Like,
There you go.
right. That's how I think of most things like this. So,
Yeah.
um,
Huh.
as they're coming into the theater, I'm like, welcome, I'm Gary Katz. I'm so glad you're here. And they would tell their name, and it would let me get to know who they were, and I could start to develop a relationship with them, and they would know me. And half the therapists couldn't make eye contact with me.
Yes.
I was
Wait.
like, and I taught school for so many years. If I had a middle school kid who didn't make eye contact with me, I'd be like, come on, like I would bring them to look,
Yes. Look at
and
me.
like, how? And they're mumbling to themselves. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Like, I'm like, wait,
Oh
what?
my
It
gosh.
was
That's
very
so
bizarre, and I feel like very I sound very elitist and judgmental. I guess I am judgmental, but there's a
I'm
whole
laughing because I've
world,
been to networking things like this or conferences like this or like,
conferences or training.
oh my Lord.
I think what it is that there's a danger of being solo private practice for 20 years where you're in an echo chamber of yourself and you
Mm,
don't do supervision with someone else or someone above you or peers. So you're just hearing your own thoughts and it reinforces the neural pathways of your own thoughts. That can't be
yeah.
like you could be the healthiest person, but eventually, like we need
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah.
And then my
Yeah.
friend brought his client group of clients in his therapy group. They were the most normal people in the whole theater. I went over and said, I just saw him actually the first time in years. And I said, do you remember that? But yeah, it was so bizarre. So I know what you mean. There are a lot of, and I feel judgmental when I go to trainings and I make this joke to friends. I'm like,
I am not kidding. Like this has hit me because I have been trying to get out, and there was a time in my area where like I knew everybody. I was like very involved. I was a very active kind of community leader, and then over the last several years, I have kind of gone underground. And so I mean, the podcast I'm out there, but
yeah,
in locally, I've kind of like sort of disappeared from the scene. And so I am, because I'm excited about this group, I am like, I've got to get out there and start meeting people. I kind of have to do it again, got to do it again.
yeah,
And I've been at a few events in the last little bit where I'm like, good Lord, does anybody know how to talk to people? Like,
yeah,
I'm not going to bite. It's okay. Say hi.
yeah. There's a lot of characters out there, and I'm a character too.
Yeah.
I mostly like I do like my version of character, but yeah, there's a lot of
Well,
characters out there.
and well, they're all introverts. I get that too. We are our industry tends to draw introverts in, but
Well, I did a
it is
dinner a
funny.
week ago. My friends and I were having lunch a few months ago, and they're like, "We should get therapists together for a dinner, like to
Hmm.
socialize." And their practice is specialized in sex addiction. My practice is sex addiction, but also sex therapy.
Hmm.
And there's a whole divide between the sex therapy world and the sex addiction world.
Mm.
It's a long, it's a
Mm.
long, it's about
It's
they
a
both
thing.
it's a thing. So,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
wanted to bridge the gap and have both groups there. And I was thinking like the problem is like many sex addiction therapists, this is very stereotyping by the way, but many
Right.
sex addiction therapists are very like classic avoidant
Mm.
personalities,
Mm.
like the clients. And so even though they might be running and acting out sexually or in whatever forms, but
Right.
in an intimate, personal, relational way, they're very avoidant. They would be like the kids in high school who were like the math and science engineer kids who are
Mm.
standing in the corner and they're building a Legos instead of playing at recess.
Yep.
But
Yep.
sex therapist people, they're out there and they're again total stereotypes, but they're out there and they're this is great and many much more comfortable with different color hair or piercings.
Right.
But
Right.
in high school that was a different type of kind of nerdy group of like we're different in a different way. So I'm
Those
like,
were the theater kids.
yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Theater kids. So I'm like,
Yeah.
we're gonna have these two groups of people who are a little awkward. Let's just use that word for this dinner. How do I bridge the gap? I'm like, oh, maybe I should bring in the drug and alcohol therapists who are the social ones and burned out of that very early and became but it was all fine. They all got together.
So you did do it. You
We
did do
did
that.
do it, and I was just like, I don't care what your clinical approach is, what you believe is correct or not. Like, let's just connect. And it
This
was
is like
wonderful.
it's like the Ulster Project for therapists.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
um, or like bringing the high school cliques together to talk to each other. That's just such a great metaphor. The theater
Yeah,
kids, the robot club,
right, exactly.
and the partiers.
Right. Yeah,
That's really funny. That's you really are super intentional about how you do this. This is great. No wonder you have the practice that you have. This is like hardwired into you. It seems like to
yeah.
me.
Yeah, and so going back to what you
Mhm.
said, like like one of the ways to have a successful practice is to be intentional about what type of client you want to work with. For
Mhm.
me, that I did that also, but around it was during the pandemic also. I spent several months, like in 2020, maybe 2021, thinking out because we were starting to grow. I'm like, what do I want to do with my time?
Yeah.
Like, what are the things that make my heart go on fire in this work?
Yes.
And so I
Yes.
really sat with it and I came up with three things. It was like working with clients, helping people heal, being with
Yeah.
them in their process. I love that.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that any day than go to a networking dinner with
Yes.
the same people. Um,
100%.
the second thing is teaching. I love teaching. And so
Yeah.
initially I thought, because I taught for 20 years before doing this, maybe I would teach grad school. And I was like, the curriculum and I got to do with their time frame and all. So I thought supervision is teaching, hiring young
Yes.
staff and teaching them how to be therapists
Yeah.
um, is fulfills that in me. So that was part of
It
what drives
does.
me to have the practice that I have. And then the third
Hmm.
thing I really love to do is like business development ideas,
Mm.
using creativity to create new business. And
Yeah.
so I was like, all right, I want to structure my week around those three things. And the things I don't like, um, consultations, I did them for many years. Then I started to squeeze them in and I couldn't do them well because I was squeezing them in between sessions and I felt stressed by it.
You mean like a free consultation with a potential
Yeah, I
client,
mean,
that
we
kind of
offered
thing?
them, but I got burned out of doing them.
Yeah.
Didn't want to do it. Payroll, didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Things like that. So hiring people to take that who can do that easier and
Yep.
be off my plate, so I
Yep.
get to do the things that I love to do. And of course, there's plenty of things. Every time I have to speak to my accountant, I'm always like, why do I have to do this? I don't want to do this. I
You
don't.
have to do this because this is part of being a business owner.
Yeah. Um, so
Yes.
I still have to do plenty of things I don't like, but I really try to focus on the three things. And like when I'm doing the parts that I really love, I do all three parts better.
Hmm. But the other thing that you do, I suspect, that we don't get taught or talk about is that you also make it financially smart. Like you think about the strategy, you think about how you're handling the money side of things.
Yeah.
So you're not going to end up being burned out or resentful because you're doing all this cool stuff but not making any money. Like you balance
Yeah.
all that out as too.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it allows me to, when I first started, um, I just lowballed fees to get clients
Mm-hmm.
because I
Don't
was
we
brand
all?
new. Yeah,
Yep.
I was brand new. This new app had just come out, which still exists, called Thumbtack. And
Yeah.
so there weren't any therapists on it yet in New York, so I put myself on it, $50. I got a bunch of really good clients from it. And
Yeah.
as I had more experience, I raised my fees. Um,
And how do you feel about that as you're raising your fees? You're talking about learning
Oh,
how to
so it's
pay attention
very
to money.
uncomfortable, as everybody talks about, to raise my fees. I would quote my fee and I would cringe. It was on the phone, and I would cringe like after I said the number because
Yeah.
so I had to work to also feel that I was worth the fee,
Yes. Yep.
which was really more. It wasn't about business; it was about therapy,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
what's my self worth? What
So
value?
this is perfect. I wanted to come back. I wanted to land, or I wanted to bring us to talking about our connection with ourselves,
Yeah,
which is what this is. And you said something to me. I wrote it down when we talked before. You said you said you have to know yourself. You have to be honest in your business about who you are and do the work to know yourself.
yeah,
You have to know your triggers. You have to connect to yourself in order to be effective as a clinician and as a practice owner.
yeah.
So that's where you're going here. So yeah, dig into that for me a little bit.
Well,
Your stuff. How does your stuff get brought up
my
in your?
stuff gets brought up all the time.
I
Because
wish y'all could see his face
if
when he
I'm
says that.
present, right? Like if I'm
Yeah,
present, and that's what I'll say to clients, like not if I upset you, when I upset you. If we're having a
yeah,
real relationship, even though it's in the framework of therapy, it's a real relationship. I'm going to
yeah.
hurt your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Never intentionally, never intentionally, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make a joke at the wrong moment.
Yep.
I'm going to not be attentive the right way. I had the sweetest guy. He had a list of things that he was upset with me about.
Oh,
And
yay.
they were his story. Like some of everything happened. He
Yeah,
misinterpreted some things I said. I let him tell
yeah,
me them. But it, where has he ever had in his life someone he could tell who he's upset to, and
yeah,
that person said, "I understand. You're
yeah,
right. I get
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like I'm glad you're telling me." So, and that's part of the healing too. I was shocked and happy that he brought this up instead of like stuffing it or ignoring it, which
yep.
is what he was taught. He came right at me, and that was like, so I think, um, you
Have
know,
you had to learn how to handle things like that, or have you? Are there
Yes.
things that, as not, I mean, as a therapist, but also as a business owner, that have been sort of triggery for you that
Oh,
you've
all the
had to learn how
time.
to? Yeah,
All the
yeah,
time. Yeah.
yeah.
Like certain clients, I can handle a client when they're upset with me. Like this guy shared it. I can handle it. I learned to breathe when these things happen because that right, like we know our body tenses up and then our nervous system is more reactive. So I just breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when people come at me hot, really mad, I
Mm,
feel it. I feel the anger rise, and if I'm not on guard, I can get defensive. I can
yeah,
argue back, and
yeah.
I have experiences earlier in my career, and I'll probably have more because I'll do it again on some level, where I cringe when I think about my reaction.
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
I said
Because,
something because of the guy hurt my feelings, and I reacted.
yeah, being human after all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was leading a group. It was one of those 6 week beginners intimacy groups, and I was talking, and it was a psycho ed piece. And this guy cut me off. And he's like, "Could you stop talking? This is so boring." And
Oh, wow.
he was also said it with rage. And I was like, and
Jeez.
I was like, well, I can talk a lot. And it was shocking the way he said it, and it scared other people in the group too. Like
Mm, it was
and I said,
aggressive.
you got a
Yeah,
valid point.
yeah.
Probably not the first person I've been told that's told me that I talk a lot. And I think
Mm,
he could have said it in a nicer way.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then I had to like move in and process that with him, but then I had to process it with everybody else too, because they were witness
yeah.
to that. And then I got off the group and I cried. It hurt my
Oh,
feelings. I felt terrible. I remember I went and laid in my bed. I was just like, I probably
oh.
ate something too for comfort, but so
Chocolate.
like there are things like that, and I know that there are certain
Yeah.
clients
Hmm.
who activate me more than others. So I have to be even more
Yeah.
patient when I know something's getting activated.
What about with your colleagues or like your employees, or just being the guy who has the vision for the practice and has to sort of set the boundaries and has to manage the money and make the hard decisions?
Yeah,
Because what I see people struggling with so much is pricing is always a biggie, but setting clear boundaries with their clients or with their hours that they
yeah.
work, or their policies and how they enforce those
Or
policies or don't, or
saying no to your
saying
staff
no.
about things, yeah. So it's been a journey. Probably like
Hmm.
I used to be scared to say no. I still can be at times,
Hmm.
and I've lost money because I couldn't say no,
Yeah,
or
you've
I was
lost
scared.
money because you couldn't say no.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Well, I kept people in positions that they weren't doing a good job, or I wasn't happy, or I tried to make it work longer than I should have, and I lost a lot of money because they weren't the right person for the position.
Mm,
And I knew it, but I was in my gut, and I tried, and because I was scared that they'd be mad at me, or I was being mean, or all these things that we might think. Um,
yeah,
and so what I've started to learn is that clarity is kindness. Communicating directly is a way of being, and honestly, with compassion, not being mean.
yes, yeah,
And I had someone that interned for us, really wonderful woman, hard worker, and she was married
not a
to
good fit.
my best friend at the time.
Mm,
And I kept her on
awkward.
longer than I would have,
Yeah, yeah,
because of my friendship with him, and I really liked her and cared for her as a person.
yeah,
But there was certain work she hadn't done yet that
yeah,
she didn't even know she couldn't do, and we tried to help her. It wasn't working. I kept her probably a year longer than I would have kept anyone else, and then
yeah,
we let her know this is what needs to change. It didn't change, and I had to let her go.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I was sad. It wasn't like she was a bad person.
But you said something important just then. She had some work of her own to do that she didn't even know.
Yeah.
So, do you think that besides learning how to run a business, do you feel like part of what is important for us as practice owners and as healers is to do our own work? Do you think that matters to our success as a business
I
owner?
well, I require all my staff to be in therapy.
Do you really?
And
Yeah.
to be in some type of ongoing training to
Yep.
continue to grow as a therapist. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Yeah.
legal. It may not, I mean, but I require it, and I don't need to know who their therapist is or what they're working on. Just if you
Be
want
doing
to
some
be
work.
like a good therapist can like talk and do listening and talk and give advice. a great therapist knows it from the inside because they've done their own work.
100%.
Yeah.
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 Y'all, I want to emphasize that a little bit because I don't think we have talked about that much here on Ideal Practice. And I think the point that Gary's making is really, really, really important for you guys to hear. We've talked a lot today about creative and inspiring and fun ways to have richer connections with our clients and with our colleagues. But this piece here at the end, if you are not doing and haven't done your own internal work and don't find ways to keep that going, and there's lots of ways to do that. It doesn't have to be ongoing therapy. It can be working with a coach. It can be being a part of a group. It can be joining a mastermind. It can be lots of things. But your ongoing internal development, the work that you're doing personally, will reflect in your practice. What I always say is that how you do anything is how you do everything. So whatever your stuff is, it's going to show up in your business. Wherever your blocks are or your blind spots are, it's going to show up in your business and it's going to show up in your bank account. So learning how to recognize where you get squirmy or how the same thing keeps happening over and over with your practice. Like, what is that about? There's a reason for that. Go figure that out. That's really important. I was part of a consultation group for 25 years.
I need to get back into one because I'm not. I mean, so I'm as part of two groups of group practice owners.
Yeah.
I joined one and then I founded one because I don't know what I'm doing half the time.
It's so good.
We're all figuring it out on the fly. No one took this course in school.
Yeah. So that's like a mastermind. That's basically you've created your own mastermind. Yeah. I'm in a mastermind too.
But I saw the same therapist for about 14 years when I started therapy when I was 29.
Yeah.
And her words still come out of my mouth. I still react with independent of all the other things I've learned. That's my go-to reaction. And I don't think that people need to be in therapy their whole life, but I think we need to have a mindset of lifelong learners. And so when I hire people, that's part of, I don't care. I've never asked somebody what their GPA was in grad school ever. But I want to know how they feel. Are they present?
Yeah.
And I also want to know, like, you can tell from their resume or in conversation, are they lifelong learners? Certain people are like, oh, there's so many trains. I don't know which one to do next. I want to do them all. And they don't have to do them all. And they don't have, and people also have financial considerations because they're expensive. So, but is that their energy? Are they a lifelong learner and a lifelong, I don't know if I have to find a better phrase, lifelong grower. It sounds like you're a farmer. So maybe a lifelong seeker.
Seeker's a good word. Yeah. I ran a mastermind a couple of years ago as a group coaching program, and it was called Evolve because I feel like we are always evolving.
I love the name.
Yeah. As people, as human beings, and as practitioners, and as business owners. And it is all part and parcel of the same thing. It weaves together. Gary, this has been such a fun conversation. I knew it would be. It's so juicy. I feel like I have done a little bit too much of the me too, which I try not to do that so much, but there's so much that you've said that mirrors my own experience and I can really relate to. Thank you so much for this today. And we're going to have you come back, guys. I want you all to know I'm going to have him back in it's in it's a couple of months away. I can't remember.
I think to talk May or June. Yeah.
May or June to talk about the creative stuff, in particular, the groups and the experience. I'll give a little teaser. Surfing is involved. He's done all kinds of fun things in his practice. So we'll talk about that next time. Gary, where can people who are intrigued by this, who want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to find you, learn more about you, learn more about your work?
I mean, our website is intimacyrecovery.com. intimacyrecovery.com. And the best way, if I invite anyone, whether therapists or wanting to discuss opening a practice or issues around their practice or clients looking for paths for healing, just email me. We can find a time to chat via email or on the phone. And my email is my name, Gary Katz, GaryKatz, @intimacy.com.
And we'll have all that linked in the show notes below as well. Y'all, I encourage you to reach out to him because he loves teaching.
that's
so take advantage of that.
Someone just did yesterday. I was so happy. No one ever does. You can say this publicly a million times. It sounds really good, but I mean it. But someone did, and it meant so much to me that they
I know
reached
you
out.
do. Yeah, I know you mean it. I can tell that you mean it. Yeah, it's awesome. And you have a beautiful heart,
Oh,
Gary. I think
thank
people
you.
who work with you are really lucky. So, and what a great inspiration for my listeners, and for me as well. I really, really thoroughly have enjoyed this. Let me ask you, I always like to, as I bring things to a close, I'll always like to ask, is there anything I haven't asked you, anything we haven't talked about, or anything that you just feel called to share that would make this conversation complete?
Mm, yeah, if you are a clinician, don't deny yourself your greatest dream for your career. Like, what's your biggest, wildest dream? If you had no fear, what would you do? And then if you don't know how
Mm,
to do it, ask Wendy or ask me or someone else. Because when the people that work for me, I'd love for them to stay, but if their career is to build a huge practice of their own, I want to help them do that. Like, it's not rocket science. It's scary. I couldn't even fill out my application for social work school. I was so intimidated. I just sat down the first day, and it was a second career for me. As I've said, I put my name and address and I stopped. That was enough for the first day. I was so scared. Like, what am I going to do? All I
yeah.
know is being a teacher. So like, it is scary, but you don't have to do it alone. You can join groups or whatever, and you have resources here to people who like love to talk about this stuff. So please take me up on my offer. Don't hold back from your wildest,
Craziest
most fun
dream.
career of your life, helping people also in that process. Like, there's nothing better.
Amen. That's great. What a perfect place to stop. I always say one of my favorite quotes is that anything I've ever done that was ultimately worthwhile initially scared me to death. And that is totally true. Yeah,
Yeah.
if it's not scaring you to death, it's probably not a big enough goal. So, and y'all, it's just a skill. It's just one more skill. Learning how to do this stuff is just one more thing to learn. You've already got through grad school or whatever certification program you went through, whatever training you've done to do the work you've done. You've already done that. You can
And
learn this.
you've probably also already gone through more difficult emotional things than whatever issue this is about how to do a practice or something.
Right. That's beautiful.
You
Yeah.
could face down those other personal things. You can face this down.
Thank you, Gary. Y'all can tell he's always going to bring it back to your heart and to your inner self, which is good. That's really, really good. So that seems like a really good place for us to stop. Thank you so much for this. This has been a lot of fun, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this as much as I have. I hope you will take him up on his offer and reach out to him. And I look forward to meeting with you here next week, same time, right here on the Ideal Practice podcast. Thanks, everybody. Bye now. Hey, y'all. If this program has become important to you, if Ideal Practice matters, it would mean so much to me if you'd be willing to take just a minute to do one or two of the following things. First of all, would you follow or subscribe to the show here at Ideal Practice? Following me helps you because you'll never miss an episode, but it helps me as well for all kinds of reasons. To do that, all you have to do is go to the show page for Ideal Practice on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. There, just click on the plus sign that you'll usually find in the top right-hand corner, or click on the word follow that you're going to find somewhere there on that page. Of all the things, this really is the most important thing you can do for the podcast itself. While you're there, it would be extra special if you would be willing to give me a 5-star rating, and even better than that, a review with your own words. Your words matter. And when you write what you feel, what you think, you uplift and encourage others. And I love that. If you want to go a step further than that, take your favorite episode or two, one of the ones that has meant a lot to you, and share it with a friend. Could you do one or two of those things for me? I promise I will love you forever. You guys matter to me, and I value your support more than I can possibly say. Thank you, sweet friend, for anything you can do to help me out and support the show. I'll see you again soon.